Hey, fam, it's your man Dante the Dark Knight. Welcome to Eagles Talk. Yes, we're back after a little brief break after the Super Bowl. I did come on to have a therapy session with you guys to kind of talk it out. And if you still need time to do that, we can do that tonight. Um, but I'm no longer sulking over it. I mean, don't get me wrong, devastating loss, very, very disappointing. After such high expectations. I mean, who in the Eagles Nation, Bird Gang Nation, did not expect our Philadelphia Eagles to come away with a Super Bowl championship? But it did not happen, and we know what happened. We can still talk about it: the field, the flag at the end, the just everything that happened that came together happened and kept us from winning the championship. It's still fresh in my mind, but I'm past. I'm ready to move on. Because I'm not going to sulk over this, man. I said during the year, I said, you guys, we need to appreciate and enjoy the ride because we didn't know when this ride was going to be over and we didn't know where it was going to end, right? So I was trying to keep us in the now because we were having a very dominant season. It was a very enjoyable time to be a Eagles fan this year. 14-3, that was exciting. And these games were dominant. Some of these games were dominant. And then we go into the playoffs, have two dominant games before we appear in the Super Bowl. And then for a half of that Super Bowl, we had a dominant game. It just, this last half of our season just was not dominant. And it didn't end with what we wanted, and that was a Super Bowl champion. But I still feel good about the season that we had. And you know when the light bulb went off for me? The first time someone tried to rub it in. The first time an opposing fan of another team tried to rub it in is when I got over the Super Bowl. Because I thought, but my thought process immediately went to, it has to suck to be you right now. For them to get so much joy in us not winning the Super Bowl, I had to look at who I was talking to. Someone were Giant fans, some were Cowboys fans, some were Redskins, Commanders fans. And then I thought about it. These guys have been, have had no success in so long that I'm so rather be an Eagles fan than to be a Cowturds or a Commanders fan. Commanders haven't been relevant since the 90s. Cowboys have won 4 playoff games in 27 years, have not sniffed the NFC Championship game. Neither of these teams have sniffed 1 ounce of the success that we had in this season alone. Now, I can't say that about the Giants. They won 2 Super Bowls in this century, but they haven't even been good in a long time. Mm-hmm. So as opposed to being fans of those other teams, I am very grateful to be a fan of my Philadelphia Eagles, and I am very grateful to have experienced this season being a fan of those Eagles. 14-3, don't get it twisted. 14-3. We've had the coming out party of our franchise quarterback happen this year. A lot of things to look forward to, a lot of things to hold your head up high about. So that is what has gotten me through the aftermath of the Super Bowl. Yes, don't get me wrong, disappointed, very, but I can't stay there. I can't stay there. I just can't. And we have stuff that we have to discuss. There's business to discuss. We don't have time to be holding our heads down. We got business to discuss. We don't have an offensive coordinator. We don't have a defensive coordinator. We got like 14 free agents coming up. We've got to discuss what the hell we're going to do. Us as the fan base, we got to do that. I know we're not making a decision, but that's all right. That's what we do. We have conversations about our Philadelphia Eagles. So we have a lot to talk about. Now, again, if you want to talk about the Super Bowl and get that off your chest, I have no problem with that. I'm here. We're here for therapy too. But we have a lot of upcoming transactions that need to take place that we need to be talking about. And it starts with the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. But all right, that's it. I've been long-winded enough. We have my co-host here. Pat is back. Those guys, they was like, no, we're not ready. We're not ready. We need another week, Don. They were still soaking it in. How do you guys feel out there about the our Philadelphia Eagles? You can talk, you guys know how to handle the chat room. Just bring up whatever's on your mind, and we'll bring it to the screen. But Pat, how are you dealing with the Super Bowl loss?
I'm much better. I was actually believe it or not after the Super Bowl I wasn't ranting and raving. I wasn't cursing. I wasn't snapping. I said my piece and I moved on. We had a terrible second half. We had no defense adjustments. See, we kicked a field goal when we should have. We had a self-inflicted wound. When you don't move off sides. You don't jump off sides. We get the first down, and most likely we score on that drive instead of kick a field goal, and put ourselves in that situation where we have to continue to score. I'm over the ref call. It was more than the ref call. Was a poor defensive effort in the second half. There was no real ideal pressures. There were no different change ups from what we saw all season. That was very upsetting. That we were upset about. That we talked about week in and week out. But you know what? I'm off that. I have been off that. To be a second place team to a team. Um, you know, One team was gonna come out the victor. We both had identical records, points, pretty much identical how we move up the rankings. We were the 1 and 2 best teams in the NFL, regardless of what quarterbacks or what team we play. We all played in NFL, so it's any given Sunday you can lose regardless. So I'm off that. Now I'm on to the general idea of who we're getting in this free agency, who's out there in the draft world. Starting to turn the page to look at these draft picks, see who we can actually booster this offense and defense with for this youth movement that we got going on at this particular time. So I'm ready. I'm ready to drink. I'm ready to get our defense coordinator, our
Oh
offensive
yeah.
coordinator. I'm ready for how he would work his magic. That's why he's the GM of the year. Listen, let's have it, man.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's celebrate our Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, they lost the Super Bowl, but they've given us a very, very memorable year. Not only with their dominant play, I mean, the Super Bowl is going to be discussed when we ever talk about this year and how we really blew an opportunity, but we're also going to be able to talk about how dominant this team was, and it still may be one of the greatest Eagles teams ever. All right, so you're watching Eagles Talk, the most unique Eagles coverage show around this by Eagles fans for Eagles fans. And here on the Eagles Talk, we like to talk about our favorite football team, the Philadelphia Eagles. We do so in such a relaxed manner that we enjoy our favorite adult beverage in the form of shots. And everybody's back. So here we are. Hold on. Here we are. So, all right. So I think I'm going to do this Quavo, Jose Cuervo. Dang, that's the only thing I got around, huh? All right. Okay. So I'm going to do this Jose Cuervo Silver. Pat is back, and he's doing what?
Jameson, baby,
Jameson. And we welcome you guys back after a little brief vacation to just, gather our thoughts and our emotions around the end of our season. But everybody, come on, let's salute our Philadelphia Eagles. They still had a great year. Still was a great time to be an Eagles fan. So down the hatch to our Philadelphia Eagles. 3, 2, 1. You're now listening to the Fruit Order.
That thing hasn't been cracked in a while.
Yeah. Whew.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
Hey, Dark Knight, listen, man. Like you said, it is time to celebrate this team. It's time to be excited of what the possibilities of this team is. In the past 6 years, we have went to 2 NFC championships, 2 Super Bowls with completely different staffs. Just the possibility of this team building something for the future right now with the guys that we have, it does bring us a little excitement and joy to my mind. To can't wait for the next season to come around,
Yeah, no doubt. And first off, the Eagles are continuing their search for a defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator, but they're to continue their search after 2 of their candidates, the 2 people that they had interviewed at least once, are off of that list. And the first one was darn, I can't.
Vance Joseph.
Vance Joseph, yeah, he took a job with the Denver Broncos, and the other one was a college coach
Jim Leonard from
consideration.
Wisconsin.
Jim
Yep.
Leonard, yeah, Jim Leonard.
Mhm.
He just removed himself. He said he's going to take a year off, get some surgery, and just rest up. So those two names will not be coming to the Eagles at the defensive coordinator. Who do you guys on the short list that they have, and what you've been hearing, and maybe your own personal preference? Who do you guys who would you like to see them hire as defensive coordinator? Before we start answering that question, I have to go to our third co-host tonight. That's you guys in the room. We thank you guys for following us tonight, joining us tonight. And the first person in the room tonight was David Bennett. He says, "Go Birds, still have love for you." All right, that's right. Anthony Hayes is in the house. He said, "Hey guys, what's up, Ant?"
You
Carl's third person, he says, "Do we try to go
no,
get Bobby Wagner?"
no.
Pat will talk to that. Dion said the sting is starting to go away. Looking forward to next year. Yeah, we definitely the NFL does do a good job in making football relevant like all year round. Like even though we just lost the Super Bowl, we still have a lot of things to talk about, like I discussed in the opening. We don't have an offensive coordinator, we have a defensive coordinator, we have to prioritize which one of these many free agents that we are going to bring back, and we're not going to be able to afford all of them. So there has to be some tough decisions that's going to be made in this offseason, and we got to get together. We got to get together as a bird gang and talk about it. So D. Lee's in the house. He said, "I'm not over it yet. Still hurts a little." Yeah, it was a tough one. Don't get me wrong. David Bennett said, "I soaked up and loved every minute of it." Yeah. Totally missed a great opportunity to steal one before paying hurts. Yes, we did. We
I
did.
mean, yeah. In my opinion, yes, we did miss the opportunity to get that championship, but also seeing what flaws we have, and seeing that the defensive coordinator was able to make those adjustments. I know Howie's going to go out there. I know they're doing their due diligence of getting a proper defensive coordinator who can make adjustments, who can you don't have to blitz all the time. We don't ask you to blitz 50% of the time. We don't want a blitzing team. Shoot, we had 70 sacks not blitzing this year, right?
Right.
But there has to be an element. There has to be an element. I was telling you, you have a Hobble Patrick Mahomes who in the whole playoff situation this year, when he went to the left, his left side, when he was pressured to from his right side and had to move to his left, either he flicked the ball or threw the ball out of bounds or was sacked. We didn't do that. We didn't do that a single time in all four quarters of this Super Bowl. That's something as a defense coordinator you would pick up on. If a regular Joe like me, a regular fan like me can pick that up just watching film, I suspect that, as a defensive coordinator, you should understand that. You should understand the middle of the field is what they do. These switch motions, what they do. Getting the ball to the tight end on these mismatches is what they do. Take that away from them. But it is what it is. We need a defensive coordinator that is well versed on, changing the different looks, protecting the middle of the field, taking away the best threat on the field, and still being a dominant defensive line. We need somebody that has that gumption to blitz on different situations and not show it all the time. We need that particular person.
So who would you like to see?
Oh man, truthfully, I've been out of the loop. I kind of isolated myself like Aaron Rodgers. I went into my little, Montana seclusion meditation area where I was just home. I had no sports talk on. I didn't look at ESPN. I didn't do none of that stuff. I didn't even know who was available to. I was preparing to come on the show, and I said, you know what? It's not our traditional people that you want to, the names that's out there like Seth Joyner or Brian Dawkins. You want somebody that's well versed in a decent defensive
Yeah,
philosophy,
yeah.
to be our coordinator. One name has been I heard today when I finally turned the radio on and I realized that Hugh Douglas is here back in Philadelphia. It was Rex Ryan.
Yeah.
He runs
Yeah.
a very aggressive defense. He was very, very good with with Baltimore, and even with the Jets, he was a very good defensive coordinator. Um, I wouldn't mind having him as a defense. I said the right Rex Ryan, right? Rex
Yeah,
Ryan. All right,
yeah,
yeah.
Rex on.
I wouldn't mind having that look. Taking a look at him if he's very interested in coming back to coach defense. We just need somebody that's not going to put us in a situation where we're not prepared.
Yeah, I would like Rex Ryan also. I don't know if his I think his personality is too big for this building. That just strikes me. I don't get me wrong. I love his philosophy on defense and what he does on defense, but I don't know if his personality is too big for this
Mm.
building, because he's a former head coach, and not that former head coaches cannot be productive coordinators. A lot of them are, that come back with, especially when they come back with no intention of trying it anymore. Like you have some assistant coaches have gotten their shot, tried it, didn't work, and became reserved to being a coordinator. They
Yeah.
enjoyed that more. I don't think Rex seems to be a one that would still be vying for a head coach job. His personality is kind of big. I don't know how that would fit into the chemistry of this team, because one thing that we can point to with the success of this Eagles team is they had great chemistry. I'm talking about all throughout the building, from the players to the coaches. There was great chemistry, and you don't want to upset that. Now, I hear some of the candidates being considered are from the college ranks. I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
you
I
know
said it before. The college ranks are, you look at these, look at Georgia defensive coordinator. They were known for their defense. Alabama, I mean, they're not their defense is pretty much ran by Nick Saban. But their defense coordinator has some say in it. You're 100% right, Dark Knight. Even the coordinator they're looking at now from Michigan. These are the up and comers. What's the guy name? What's it? Greg Sherman? Jesse Mittner. I think that's the guy from no, Chris Schuler. I don't know. All these names are running in between. I was trying to look it up to see what was the candidates. I told you I was in my happy place.
right.
But yeah, I do agree that Rex. I saw some comments up there that's posted about Rex might probably won't respect Nick Sirianni. But at the same time, why would he respect the head coach? If the head coach is coming out there in the hiring process, say, you know what, I need you to be you.
Right.
Run your defense the way you see fit. I mean, I might talk to you here and there, but this is your defense. Do your thing, right? I'm the head coach. I mean, if something does transpire and I have to step in and talk to you, I will. He has said that. He literally has said that, right?
I
Rex will
mean, but
be.
what is Rex's response going to be when when Sirianni goes on one of his, you know, the Roots and Flowers story and stuff? You know what I
He
mean? I
just
mean, can
he
Rex hold his composure and not, he's old school. Can he contain himself and not respond with what the hell is this bullshit? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like, can he be quiet?
all he has to understand is, Rex Ryan, as a head coach, he has got farther than you have.
Yeah.
He went from 9-8 as a head coach to 14, was it 14-3 to a Super Bowl berth in the second year. So it's nothing you could come after this head coach that we have here, besides how he talks sometimes, because he likes to rant and rave and go on tangents over one freaking question. Stay on point, dude. But
Right.
it's nothing that Rex Ryan can really criticize this head coach about, because whatever he has done has been a successful thing for this franchise in the past 2 years.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's a lot of pluses too. I bring up the big personality and all, but having a seasoned defensive coordinator that you can trust and turn over that side of the ball and not even have to worry about it. You know what I'm saying? Is a plus. Having a veteran coach experienced in a lot of different situations on the pro level is a benefit, would be a benefit to this team, and a benefit to Sirianni, because
Yes.
let's face it. I mean, there was a young coaching staff, and we all agree that they got outcoached. They got outcoached in the Super Bowl. I mean, they did a lot of good things. That's why it was a close game and a competitive game, and one of the best Super Bowls we've seen, right, in a few years, right?
It was very competitive.
Um,
Besides the field,
right. So, they got outcoached though. They got outcoached, and
yeah.
how much of a benefit would it have been to have a veteran defensive coordinator in there like Rex Ryan that would recognize that, look, we need to change it up. This is not working. Let's do something different. So that's a benefit of that, and with the same with the suggestions that you guys out there are making. Like Anthony says, I wanted Greg Williams. That same philosophy, so to speak, meaning a veteran defensive coordinator who's been in a lot of different scenarios and situations in the NFL. That'd be beneficial to a young coach like Sirianni. And somebody else up here brought up Lovie Smith. Lovie Smith, another veteran that I wouldn't mind having. There's some
You
candidates
know
out
what?
there that I wouldn't mind having.
Lovie Smith has a philosophy on defense. He runs more of a traditional 4-3. I think this defense can be done with multiple sets with the personnel that needs to be brought on board. I was in love with the idea when we first got Jonathan Gannon. I would never call him his nickname again. When we first got Jonathan Gannon, and he talked and he said we were going to run multiple sets. I'm in love with that idea of not being a one type of defense type of team. Because you do have the guys that's still assigned. You have those guys that can play multiple positions. Now, you're going to lose about 7 guys on defense that was contributors. You're going to use about 7 guys that's on defense that's contributors. And because of that, you might have to go to a more traditional set of a 4-3 or, I saw some people in there saying 3-4. You might have to go to that. And who better would you rather go with that is with a more experienced defensive coordinator. Lovie Smith would be ideal. But sometimes that bringing that new blood infuses something into the team, just like when Nick Sirianni came in, right? New blood changes the whole idea of what this team could be. And I have trust in Howie. I have trust in Howie. I have trust in our owner that they will make the right decision. They have done it. They have done it in the past 6 years with both coaching hires. Even Jim Schwartz, we criticized Jim Schwartz. He gave up 500 yards passing the Super Bowl, but Jim Schwartz, he was able to at least keep us competitive with our defensive style. And that's all I got to say about that. I just hope that we do realize that we need somebody that know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, and we don't know what they're asking for, what they're looking for in a defensive coordinator either. They may want someone, and that may be a part of the reason why they're looking at the college ranks there, because they may want someone who has the same philosophy as Jonathan Gannon in this sense only, that he likes to run a hybrid defense, right? I think I enjoyed that hybrid. I enjoy seeing a 5-2, a 3-4-4. You know what I'm saying? I enjoy seeing that. And that was a part of how he got pressure on the quarterback without the blitz. That 5-2 was giving them one-on-one matchups across the line. And we had some very good defensive linemen that can beat one-on-ones. So if they got it down to a one-on-one, that was a benefit to our defense. So they may be looking for someone that's well versed, or at least open to run different type of and hybrid type of defense, where it's not just a 4-3, it's not just a 3-4, but someone who has that Jonathan Gannon philosophy of mixing it up. A little bit more aggressive, though. A lot more aggressive than Jonathan Gannon.
Definitely in this quarter.
And that's the end of the quarter.
All right, you're watching Eagles Talk, the most unique Eagles coverage show around. That's by Eagles fans, for Eagles fans. And here on Eagles Talk, we like to talk about our favorite football team, the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, and we like to talk it out. We can still talk about the Super Bowl if you want to. And we can move on also if you want to move on, because there's a lot of serious business that has to be taken care of. So we can talk about that too. But anyhow, we're going to talk about it in such a relaxed and social manner that we enjoy our favorite adult beverage in the form of shots. So I am doing the Jose Cuervo silver. Pat is doing the Jameson. Let me know what you're doing out there. And let's salute our Philadelphia Eagles, man. They gave us a hell of a year, and I'm grateful for that, man. I mean, I could be a fan of the Commanders, and then how would that feel? Not winning
haven't won
anything
anything
since
since the
Dan
80s.
Snyder has arrived on the scene. That would be horrible. So
Yes.
let's celebrate our Philadelphia Eagles, man, even though they lost the Super Bowl. To them, down the hatch. 3, 2, 1.
You're now listening to the second quarter.
Woo.
All right,
tell
so
you.
somebody posted up there.
Mhm.
I thought Brian Johnson was the OC, and
I think they're
that's
still
what we're hearing, but he's not been named officially.
Yeah, I
Right.
think they're still in talks with him to be the offensive coordinator. But you still keep all your doors open for that one hot guy, even though he has the inside track, and I believe he will be our offensive coordinator moving forward, especially after we hire a defensive coordinator and a linebackers coach, because we need them all. We need when we hire Brian Johnson as offensive coordinator. Let's remember this. He was our quarterbacks coach, so we got to get a new quarterbacks coach. We have to get a linebackers coach because Nell Rels went over with
He went with
Shane JG to Jonathan Gannon. I'm sorry,
I'm
he
sorry.
went to Shane Steichen. He went to Shane Steichen. He went to Shane Steichen to the Colts. The Colts need to stop hiding
Rallis went with Jonathan Gannon.
Oh, whatever. Shane Steichen, yo, the Colts need to stop taking our coaches.
Well, that's what happens, man.
No, they need to stop
that's
taking our coaches. Shane Steichen's going to flame out in where they at? Baltimore, Indianapolis, whatever that. The Colts, they gonna flame out there too. So will Jonathan Gannon. They'll be out both be out of football in the next 2 to 3 years.
Or back. I don't know that. I mean, Jonathan Gannon took that job, but that was not a
you know why he took that job?
He just
how he said you can't get back on the plane. Stay here. I called the owner. He has the interview set up for you. We see you in Philadelphia if you make it.
Right. Facts. I hear you. That's what something I would have did, yo. Mm-hmm. Anthony A says if the Eagles went to the 5-2, the Chiefs would have been done and Mahomes would have been hit a lot. I beg to disagree because of the conditions of that damn field.
Yeah,
our rush is predicated on speed, athletic rushers, and when you don't have your footing under you, it makes that very hard to plant and get fast on a sloppy field. You can't get fast on a sloppy field. So I don't know. Even the 5-2 would have helped us out in the Super Bowl with the conditions of the field being the way they were. And, don't get me started because that was a disgrace in itself.
$800
multi-billion dollar
years growing
and you can't get the grass right in the desert. The desert, you're in the desert and the grass is wet.
They should left that field as is because when we played in Arizona, we was a fast track, so they should left that field as is. But I'm not going to harp on that. The game is over. It was a good game. We all here in Philadelphia feel so we should have won it, but we see what we need to add on to. We need guys to have heart out there. We need. I kind of beg to differ that I would have put Blankenship in different situations and utilize his ability to make tackles properly. And on that goal line situation where they ran that zone switch, that has to be after they run it the first time. You have to sit the defense down and say, listen, if we come out and you see a formation and they run this again, don't run across the field without seeing your man run across the field. If he doesn't cross that center, then you don't cross that center.
Right.
And basically both plays, Avonte Maddox ran without looking at his receiver, looking at the receiver, and left that guy wide open both times. And that's a change. Like once you see it one time as a defensive coordinator, you got to sit these guys down and say, all right, if this happens again, if this type of motion happens again, with tight formation, outside man motions, stay inside. Do not do not go past the center until you see that guy go past that center. And you got to start moving your linebackers over with it, right? You got to. This is the philosophy of
Well,
an older defensive coordinator will make that proper adjustment and tell the outside corner, all right, listen, you have this outside area. If the receiver doesn't come outside area, I need that inside corner to nail flag. You gotta look inside for that receiver. I mean, it's almost like a double team if that guy doesn't come out. So it's just a conversation that should have been had with the defensive backs. It wasn't had.
Well, when they follow the guy in motion, that's the tip off that it's man to man, right?
Not all the times because
I know, but
yeah,
if
it
you're
is.
following
It
the
is.
guy,
It is. It's a tip off
right,
to
it's man to man. So this is my problem, and then this is why I put more blame on the players. If you're man to man and your man stops and goes the other way, where the hell are you going?
So in this situation, and I wish we could bring the play up. The first time, and Slade was telling him, "Don't." He's trying to grab Avonte Maddox, not to go all the way over. He's staying outside. Avonte basically look at this man and he's basically trying to get to the spot before the receiver gets to the spot. So what happens is when a receiver motions in a situation like that, you're at a disadvantage, right? You're always
Right.
at a disadvantage when it's in a close set because now you come into these crossing routes over the middle and you come into these out routes on the outside with these motion people. They're going to at least get 3 or 4 yards off a quick pass from a quarterback like Pat Mahomes. So he was trying to beat him to the spot so he want to be in position. Instead of looking at him, he's just trying to get to that spot. Now, as somebody that have seen it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You slow play it. You have to slow play it. You have to slow play. It's almost like where you have to tell the safety to make the eye adjustment. Make the eye adjustment. If I see that he's going over, I need you. I'm not gonna be able to get over. I need you to take up my second, come downfield, and make a tackle.
All right, man. Well, that shit didn't work. Well, I mean, we could say what we want, man. I mean, it just takes me back. It didn't happen, man. We wasted a brilliant performance, a legendary performance by a quarterback in the Super Bowl. That was a legendary performance by Jalen Hurts. 4 touchdowns, 3 rushing, 1 throwing, 300 yards, 70 rushing. It was a legendary game, and we didn't take advantage of him playing at such a high level. And it's ironic. I heard this on Sports Talk today, but his performance was on a level of Nick Foles' performance. I mean, Nick Foles had an extraordinary performance in the Super Bowl, but that 2017 team took advantage of Nick Foles' performance. Our 2022 team did not take advantage of getting such an outstanding performance from their quarterback, because that was one for the ages, man. 4 touchdowns altogether. He did everything, and the 2-point conversion.
He did everything. Behind there. He balled his behind. It's nothing you can say about Jalen Hurts about putting them. I saw some people rankings, and they put him at number 6 coming into this season behind Aaron Rodgers, They put Trevor Lawrence in front of Jalen Hurts. Like, no, listen, this kid balled his behind out when it was needed all season. When it was needed, they kept talking about his performance during the playoffs. You know, he didn't have to put up gaudy numbers in the playoffs.
No, he did not.
He didn't have to put up gaudy numbers.
That's how great this team was. We could kill you in so many different ways. And that's a part of why I am optimistic about moving forward. I know we have a lot of questions to answer on the defense, a lot of free agents, and we have to make some tough decisions on who to bring back and who to go after and all of that. But for the most part, our offense should be intact. I know Miles Sanders is a free agent, and we have to make a decision on him. I'd like to hear from you guys. Do we keep Miles Sanders or do we not? Is he how high of a priority is he? Do we make him? Like, is he a high priority to you?
Oh, he's a secondary priority, but he did say he's willing. He said he wants to come back. He said, "I'll make it work. I want to be here. I don't think he wants to command a high number. Listen, this offense was conducive for him to put up his first 1,000-yard season and be successful with it. Right, our running game was successful with how we have our running back set up. Sanders was a featured back. Then you had Gainwell. Gainwell came into his own in the second half in the playoffs. Boston Scott is going to be Boston Scott. You might have to replace Boston Scott, but at the end of the day, he was a product of this offense. You look at players, right? I know you see this, Dark Knight. Some players, they're a product of the teams they go to, right? The perfect example is Tom Brady. If he doesn't go to the Patriots and he goes to Seattle, does he do the same thing in Seattle that he does with the Patriots initially? No, he doesn't have the same coaching. The coaching made Tom Brady who he really was initially. Then he became Tom Brady, right? Same thing here with when you go back and look at Donovan McNabb. We remember the historic draft in 1999 when you had all of these draft picks: Tim Couch, Achilles Smith, all these guys. We had like 5 quarterbacks who were supposed to go in the first 10 picks, right? We picked Donovan McNabb. Say we didn't pick Donovan McNabb, we picked somebody else. Would Donovan McNabb still been successful, or would the Philadelphia Eagles be successful with another quarterback that they selected during that time? So sometimes you are a product of the organization and the philosophy that you go to. Miles Sanders is what this offense needs. It's either he's going to be good here, or he's going to be good in Baltimore, because they run a similar type.
Right, they do. All right, that's the end of the second quarter.
And that's the end of the quarter.
All right, you're watching Eagles Talk, the most unique Eagles coverage show around. That's by Eagles fans, for Eagles fans. And here on Eagles Talk, we like to talk about our favorite football team, the Philadelphia Eagles. Great year, our Philadelphia Eagles. And we like to talk about them in such a relaxed manner that we enjoy our favorite adult beverage in the form of shots. I took 2 shots. I'm all right. I'm still just coming back. I'm done. I'm just going to drink my water
baby.
Now.
I'm back, baby.
You back all the way. I can't do it. I celebrated with a friend birthday, so no, I'm good. All right. So, but the rest of you guys, you guys have let me know some. Who was that? Christopher Burton is on his way home to do the Uncle Nearest. Oh man, he about to get it in.
He got the 1884, so he got the 93 proof. So he's gonna. I got. I'm not doing 100 proof no more on this show.
All right. Yeah, no, we not. We did that one time with the I forget what the
Bullet
Creek. Creek.
Was Knobs Creek? Oh my.
Yeah.
Wherever
here we go. So we're gonna do this shot to our Philadelphia Eagles. Let's get it out the way. Let's just let's get the Super Bowl loss behind us and move on and talk about the business at hand. So to our Philadelphia Eagles, down the hatch, 3, 2, 1.
You're now listening to the third quarter.
All right, let me go to some of the comments out here because you guys have been making some great comments. I've been putting up there, like the one I have on the screen. That one was good. Top 2 priorities: number 1, sign Jalen Hurts. Number 2, sign Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. That is about it right there in a nutshell. Like those 2 are important signings to me.
Let's be honest.
Outside of Jalen Hurts, and that's going to get done.
That's going to happen.
Charlie got Chauncey is probably the next most important free agent to me. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like to keep Bradbury, but every intention is he performed well enough to get his bag, and he's probably going to get it from somebody. And if that's the case, I think we're going to be. He's going to be outpriced. He's going to be too expensive for us to keep, especially if we have to open up the coffers and give Jalen Hurts his worth. So that's the only reason why he's probably not number 2. But Chauncey is a younger guy, and he was outstanding this year. He was outstanding. Tied the league in interceptions, even after not playing in like 4 or 5. How many games did he miss? Like 6 or something? Like he missed
Yeah,
a
he
lot of games,
missed the second
and he
half of the
still
season.
was tied for the league's lead in interceptions. So he was everything we were looking for. He is, this current team's version of Jenkins. Like he does it all. So yeah, I say he's a top 2 priority. Pat, somebody asked you what are your top 4 priorities as far as free agents and players?
All right. So my top four, first and foremost, I want to answer the first one with John DeBattista, right? Jalen, you don't necessarily have to sign him this year, but they are going to sign him. He's still under contract for one more season under his rookie contract. Uh, and it's an ideal if you don't get a deal done with Chauncey Gardner Johnson, you just franchise him and work something out during the season. Because like Dark Knight just said, those are the guys you need to have on this team. They're both quarterbacks on the offense and defense side of the ball. But for the 4 top priorities, what I see on this team, number 1, and I'm saying this with everything else that's going on with losing our free agents, special teams. I'm going to be honest with you. Special teams was one of the main reasons we were put in bad situations in that Super Bowl. Bad field position also cost us certain games this year. Punting has been terrible. We haven't had a good punter since when? All right. We haven't had a good kick returner since when? Darren Sproles. So we need to literally look at somebody that's going to be a dynamic punter for us and a dynamic kick return. And yes, I'll put that number 1 because you know what? You cannot not have that in as a priority. All right, number 2, it has to be with the offensive line, right? You're either going to lose Isaac Salamalu or you're going to lose Jason Kelsey. Now, Jason may say you want one more season, and you pay him what he wants. I don't care what he wants. You pay Jason what he wants. He's been playing at all pro level for the past 2 or 3 years. You pay maybe longer than that. You pay him what you want. Isaac, that's a different story. I think we have a guy that can replace him for the time being. And Cam Jurgens. But you need to make sure you go into the draft and free agency that you have a guy that can be in a situation where if you're down a man that can come in and solidify that offensive line. Number 3, I'm sorry. We need to find linebackers that work perfect together. All right. We need to find linebackers that work perfect together. TJ, Kazir, they work perfect together at the beginning of the season. At the end of the season, we started to see their flaws, and they didn't work well together. TJ was a tackling machine. Kazir is a speed guy from sideline to sideline, but he disappeared after a while. We need linebackers that not only know how to get off the block, can make plays in the passing game. All right. My last priority, number 4, has to be with solidifying that second cornerback position. Either we sign James Bradbury, we bring a free agent in for that position, or we go to the draft and get a top tier corner that could be a second starting type corner for us. We cannot think we're going to replace James Bradbury with another Steve Nelson type corner. We cannot do that. We have to have somebody that can be up to the task of replacing the James Bradbury and playing as good or even better. That are my priorities.
All right, that's not bad. I kind of agree with the special teams. I don't know if I put it number 1, but definitely it has to be.
Dude, do you realize that
addressed in the second
75-yard punt return?
Yeah, that was horrible.
Punter?
That guy.
And he admitted he tweaked his ankle. So he shouldn't even been active. I would have been fine with Brick Kearns kicking a 25-yard punt.
Yeah, that was horrible. That was horrible. Special teams, and it finally came back to bite us in the biggest game of the year. But let's not forget that there was a lot of blame to go around. I mean, Jonathan Gaynor had a bad second half, but there's other people that had some mishaps that didn't bode well for our team. I mean, let's talk about it. We're talking about the potential MVP candidate of the game, Jalen Hurts. That fumble really killed. I mean, that hurt. That really hurt. That wasn't like that gave us. It wasn't a turnover where the defense had an opportunity to come out and try to overturn the momentum. It was a turnover that straight led to 7 points. Like, without doubt. That hurts some. The special team play, that return where they to the 5-yard line, and that was a gimme. That was damn near a 7-point gimme. But Sayamalu and the hold before, if he doesn't commit the penalty before on 3rd and 1, Jalen never fumbles. You know what I mean? We never run that play. So, we had, there were some mishaps. There's some blame to go around. I get it. And Jonathan Gannon, I agree. Maybe he should get the most. But when this team looks in the mirror, which I assume that it does, everybody's going to be accountable for what they did or did not do, how they performed or their lack of performance in that game. And I'm okay with it. It is what it is. We're going to move on. But my first point was that this offense is pretty dynamic and it's pretty young, and it's probably going to be, for the most part, still intact next year. A few pieces here and there. Isaac, I don't know what's going to happen with Isaac. I don't know what's going to happen with Miles, but I think that, as far as Isaac goes, we already have someone that can step in and take his spot if need be. I'm talking about Jurgens in this sense, right? He can step in and take that and play that position. That's assuming that Kelsey doesn't retire, right? So if Kelsey doesn't retire and we lose Sayamalu, we do have a replacement for that. So that doesn't really bother me. We would have to find a replacement for Miles Sanders if he happened to walk. But running backs are not. Well, Josh is going to cost a lot, but I wouldn't put anything past Howie. Howie can sell salt to a slug. So I don't know.
He's a friend. He's a friend of Jalen. So he's
a friend of Jalen's. How much of a friend is he?
Jalen might say, you know what? You got the bag over in Oakland. Come here, man. Come.
That's all nice and good. When you start talking about people money, it's a different joy. I like you, bro. But I'm not giving up most $3 million to come over here, yo. I'm saying, like, it's a business. I mean, we talk about hometown discounts, and I know that happens, but it's special situations and when that happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, for the most part, these people, they're independent contractors that's trying to earn as much money as they can. So there's not a lot of hometown discounts. If you're Tom Brady and your wife is a billionaire herself, you can give a hometown discount. But if you're a layman and your wife is not a billionaire, she's a dollar heir, then you gotta think about how much you gotta make the most money you can make. You know what I'm saying? So, or if you're at the end of your career and you just are comfortable and you see a prime opportunity to go out with a win, maybe you give a hometown discount, but it's only special situations where people give out hometown discounts, man. Yeah. Jalen's not giving out a hometown discount. You better believe. And how about this? Let me switch gears here. Daniel Jones wants $45 million a year, and I hope he gets it.
Let me do this.
Well, I'm sorry. Let me retract that. He wants $45 million a year, and I repeated. Well, I said after that I hope he gets it, but no, I don't hope he gets it. But I know one person who does hope he gets it, and that's Jalen Hurts. He hopes they do pay him $45 million. Because you know what? Then he's going to be worth $50 to $55 million. You know what I'm saying? So, if they set the market on Daniel Jones at $45 million, Jalen is going to be doing cartwheels. You know what I'm saying? The market will have been set with Daniel Jones. And soon as Jalen Hurts' agent walk in, the first thing he's going to pull out is his stat sheet. If this guy is worth $45 million, check out my client's resume here. And that's going to
Wow.
warrant him about $55 million. So I know he's
Yes.
rooting for that.
Yes.
Now, me, myself, I'm not rooting for Daniel Jones to get that. Number one, I don't like Daniel Jones. I don't like the Giants. But number two, I don't want to be cash strapped that bad. You know what I'm saying? I want Jalen to get his bag as much as the next person. But we all understand that once we do give him the bag, we're going to be like the Chiefs. And that's in a good sense. What I mean by that is they've shown us that you can still win after paying your quarterback the bag, giving him the bag. They did it. And that's probably the same formula we're going to have to follow once we do the same. $500 million. After we give Jalen the bag, I'm talking about we're going to have to use that same philosophy on stocking this team with talent. And they did it through the draft. You see how many rookies they had in the Super Bowl? That was because they had to. The bag is going to Mahomes. They couldn't be in the free agent market like everybody else. They didn't have money like that, so they used their cheap labor, the draft picks.
Yeah,
and their rookies, they performed. I mean, I'm not saying they were extraordinary, but they were serviceable.
They were serviceable. I mean, they still got 35 points hung on them. Let's be honest. They still got 35 points hung on them. And
our all pros got 38. So hung on them.
Our defense was terrible. Let's be honest. Our defensive coordinator philosophy was terrible. AJ Brown and Devontae Smith showed up in the biggest game of the year. They both showed up. Dallas Goedert showed up. Miles Sanders didn't show up.
Nah.
So I mean, we talk about
what's up, Raheem?
Raheem in the house. Stuff. But I think if we don't bring back Miles, we don't get Josh Jacobs in free agency. We don't go after the guy from Cleveland. Bijan Robinson maybe be our second pick in the first round, and don't ever put it past Howie Roseman to sell one of our first round picks for next.
Yeah, we
season.
only have 6 picks. I say only, but that's
he might sell one of those picks for next season with the eyes of picking up Marvin Harrison Jr. as that third receiver.
Yo, and we need that because Quez is done. I told y'all guys, y'all was telling me to chill out.
Man,
I told you Quez wasn't a Batman a long damn time ago.
He had the juice for a minute, and then when that fumble happened with the Commanders, it was like
that was it. After that fumble, I was done. I was out. I was out. I was out the window.
And that's the end of the quarter.
When Quez fumbled that ball in the Commanders, I was out. He was no longer a Batman to me. I kept telling y'all Quez is entering Robin status. He's not a Batman. He's a Robin. But that's the end of the third quarter. So thank you guys for joining us. You are watching Eagles Talk, the most unique Eagles coverage show around us by Eagles fans for Eagles fans. And here on Eagles Talk, we like to talk about our favorite football team, the Philadelphia Eagles. We do so in such a relaxed manner that we enjoy our favorite adult beverage in the form of shots. Everybody's back. I guess I'll do a little baby join on the way out.
There you go.
I'm doing the Jose Cuervo. Everybody's back on the wagon. So Pat is doing the Jameson. You guys let me know what you're doing out there. And we're going to just celebrate our Philadelphia Eagles because they gave us a great season, man. It was a good time to be an Eagles fan. I enjoyed myself. All right, here we go. Easy on that, Robin. All right, I got you, Rob. All right, so here we go. Raise your glass to our Philadelphia Eagles and down the hats. 3, 2, 1.
You're now listening to the fourth quarter.
All right, what else is there out there that we need to talk about? All right, so
my favorite part of the year is coming up, Dark Knight.
What's that? Oh, the combine.
The combine, the draft. Listen, there's going to be some hidden gems that I hope we hit on. I love to say Bijan Robinson from Texas. If we don't, he's a joker. Wow.
He's a joker.
He's a Harley Quinn. But if we don't sign a running back in free agency, don't be surprised if we do pick a running back in the first round.
No, I don't think that doesn't even meet with Howie's MO.
It doesn't.
Anybody out there agree with a running back in the first round? And don't get me wrong, I'm hearing this Bijan Robinson is a generational talent. I hear he's up there.
Talent. He's up
Somebody's
there.
telling me
He's Ricky Williams, right? But you got to draft him right. You
He
don't.
smoke weed, is what you're saying?
No, he doesn't smoke.
Okay, all right. I mean, that's what when you say Ricky
He's a
Williams,
very
gotta
good.
be clear.
He's good as a runner. He's good as a pass. He's great as a pass. Let me change that. He's great as a pass catcher. This guy is 6'2", 220. You know, we also asked for the guy that can get that extra yards. He's 6'2", 220. With that 31st pick, don't be surprised. Glenn, don't be surprised with that 31st pick in the first round. If we don't get him in the first round, we might turn the 31st pick in the second round and grab him if he's available.
Look, this is what I'm seeing, right? I'm seeing defensive line, pass rusher, defensive
They're gonna
line in
be
the
gone.
first quarter. I mean, the
The real
first
good ones, Bill
round, because
Carter.
we have a lot of free agents along that defensive line, and we're not going to be able to afford everyone. How do we get, better and cheaper? We got a top 10 pick. We can get one of the top pass rushers in the draft, and we have him under control for the next 4 or 5 years. That's how you do it. So
Well,
I see, and along the offensive line, you know how he likes to build inside out. I would love to see a replacement for Quez. I would love the Marvin Harrison, but
that's next year.
that's next year, and we have to have a top pick. Hopefully, we don't have a top pick in the first round next year unless we've traded for it or something like that.
Oh,
because we don't want it.
We thought we were not going to have a top pick this year. Look what happened.
I know, but that's through a trade. You know what I'm saying? Our own first round draft pick is at the bottom of the first
Dark Knight,
round.
it might happen again. Dark Knight. I'm just saying.
All
I'm not putting anything past Howie Roseman no longer.
That's a good.
And I told you, I said, you know what? I'm never disrespecting this guy because he sells water to a well. He makes polar bears in the Arctic buy ACs. Like he is that good at what he does.
Yeah, he is. Second round, Glenn Lee, brother. What's up?
No, I'm not getting
round. I'm cool with a
Gonzalez.
running back. I would be cool in the second round if you wanted to go running back. So do they go O-line, D-line? I'm all right with either one. I mean, they are positions of need. That's not a bad suggestion either. Cornerback at 10.
I'm going to give you a rundown real quick. First of all, I'm not going Christian Gonzalez at number 10 or 31. I don't want a Pac-10. What is it, Pac-12, whatever? I don't want a Pac-10 cornerback any longer. I'm done with these guys. I'm done with this soft football over there that they play. We've seen it time in and time out, and it hasn't worked properly for us. So, therefore, if you don't play in the Big Ten, the SEC, maybe even the ACC, we don't want you. Big 12.
Yeah, for real.
All right, so
continue
let's start out.
To pick talent
the corner
from the top conferences.
Yeah, the cornerback from Illinois, Devin Weatherspoon, very good cover corner. But the best one in the draft is from the Penn State University, Joey Porter Jr., who dad used to play at with Pittsburgh Steelers. He's going to be the top corner. If he's available at 10, you take him. No questions asked. Because the top draft picks as far as the defensive line, Jalen Carter, Brian Breeze, Will Anderson Jr., they're going to be gone. Those are the guys that replace our guys this year. If they're available at 10, you take one of those guys. If they're not available at 10 and Jody Porter Jr. is available, he's a guy you could fit in there on opening day and say, you know what, we need you to play like James Bradbury did, but better, and he will.
And that's great. That's a good, and that's what I had in mind in thinking about a pass rusher because we're going to lose some talent, man, and we got to replenish that. So I'm all right with the Joey Porter pick. I mean, because we're probably not going to be able to afford Bradbury, but we need Bradbury's talent. So we need someone as talented as Bradbury. I mean, that's one of the big reasons why this defense worked. The marriage between the pass rush and the secondary, and this marriage this year was a marriage made in heaven. I mean, our corners were superb, and that pass rush were beneficiaries of that superb play behind them. and then our secondary were beneficiaries of that pass rush that played in front of them. So they were a marriage or a match made in heaven. And the way we replenish or keep that talent level up is we have to go into the draft and we have to hit on more picks than we miss on. Let's put it that way. And Howie hasn't been doing a bad job. We actually this year's draft class, you can say they were redshirted. I mean, even up to and including Jordan Davis, he was redshirted. If you compare how many snaps he got, especially after he returned from injury, he was averaging about 20 snaps or so a game. That's not a lot. And next year they're going to need him. Cam Jurgens, second round pick. He barely played this year, right? Because they got him to take Kelsey's place. So, and then Nakobe Dean, right? These guys were basically redshirted. Next year, though, they're going to probably be asked to contribute because we're going to lose some players. And that's a good thing to have talent already on hand, ready to step in and take the places of those that were before them. So Howie didn't do a bad job. And this year, it's going to be even more important that he has more hits in the draft to replenish some of this talent that's going to walk out the door because we can't afford them. So I'm okay with Joey Porter. I'm okay with a top pass rusher. I'm okay with a top offensive lineman. I'm okay with replenishing the talent on this team with younger, cheaper players. But they have to hit on these draft picks.
They got to. Dark Knight, I'll have a more comprehensive breakdown of who I think we should get at 10 and 31. Because I look at these guys and know Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is not available to come out this year. Next year he will be. So if Howie's able to do what he did this year and have 2 draft picks in the first round or have an early second round pick, again, I'm right now I'm putting my money down on Marvin Harrison Jr., Jeremiah Trotter next year, but this year, you got to look at these guys for what they're worth. If Brian Breeze is available, he's the defensive lineman from Clemson. He had a little medical issue. They're going to test that in after the combine. We got full information on his medical issues. Will Anderson Jr. didn't play up to his standards this year. Wasn't as dominant as he was in previous years. Jalen Carter is continuing to be dominant. He's going to he should be the number 1 draft pick. They'd be stupid. Who's number 1 right now? Who's drafting number 1?
I forget.
I think the coach or something like that. Whoever's number 1, they should, if they were smart enough, draft him and build around him on the defensive line because he's going to be the Aaron Donald of this generation. That's how good he is. The thing is, we have to draft for the idea of these players playing rather sooner than later.
Let me move to this, right? We know lots got to happen. What is your confidence level? And I'm going to tell you mine, that Howie can get it done. I'm of the, executive of the year, built 2 Super Bowl appearing teams in 5 years. And I mean, in extraordinary fashion. I mean, the first one he built, and then he had to darn near scrap that whole team and build another one, which he did in 2022. I mean, come on, we saw this team win the Super Bowl in 2017, and we thought that was going to be, quote unquote, the new norm, right? Mm-hmm. We thought that we had something here. And lo and behold, a lot of things changed in just 3 years after winning the Super Bowl. Our quarterback was a quack. We had to tear the team apart. Mm-hmm. And Howie did that and then rebuilt it and had us back in the Super Bowl this past year. So I'm going to say that my trust level of Howie is very high, that he can do it. I know, and he knows, we know, we all are well versed on some of the blunders that he has made in the past, but Howie seems to be a changed man in the fact that he learns a lot sooner from his mistakes than he had in the past. So I got the utmost confidence that he is going to be able to reload this team so to speak. And I don't know if I expect them to go to the Super Bowl next year, but you know what? I expect them to be good. I do.
I do expect them to be good because the whole offensive line is homegrown. The whole the offensive side of the ball is homegrown, except for one guy, which is AJ Brown, right? The whole offensive side of the ball has been drafted, developed, and played up to and above the standard of what their position draft grade was. Freaking Jason Kelsey was a fifth-round draft pick. He's an all-pro, a bona fide Hall of Famer once he retired. Lane Johnson was a number 3 pick of first round, the third pick in the first round. And we all clamoring, and including myself, for Deion Jordan out of Oregon because we had Chip Kelly. Lane Johnson has been a bona fide Hall of Fame right tackle since he got here. Since he got here. Not now. No, since he got here. Dallas Goedert, since he became a Philadelphia Eagle, when he's healthy, he's in the top conversation as tight ends in the league. Right? So these players have been home. Freaking Jordan Mailata, who was playing rugby, a 7th-round draft pick, who is in the top 10 of left tackles. Number 7. You rank number 7. So I believe on the offensive side of the ball, we have something. We when it comes to this offensive line and defensive line, Howie does it right. It's especially positions that really he has an issue with. The wide receiver. Taking a wide receiver that shouldn't be taken in the first round. Yes, I was hype about it, Dark Knight, because I saw Jalen Reagor play. And in college, Jalen Reagor was that dude. But in the pros, his ass need to sit on the bench. But my confidence, I do have confidence. I think like you just said, how he learns from his mistakes and grows and becomes better. I think he has learned from his previous mistakes as a drafter. And this year, the draft has been solid. The guys he has on this team that has been drafted has played and have played very well. Even the undrafted guys. He always have some good undrafted rookies. You ever realize that? The undrafted rookies that we have end up becoming starters and become diamonds in the rough. Reed Blankenship, TJ Edwards.
The
7th-round draft pick of Jalen Mills. He was a diamond in the rough. Even though he was, he had a double move, he would lose him. If he didn't do that, he was a very good corner. And I told you he was a safety, right? I mean, I have confidence. I think he's going to make the right, push the right buttons. We might not go back next year, and I hope we do. As an Eagle fan, I hope we do. But I think he's going to set us up well enough that within the next 2-3 years we'll be back fighting again for that championship. Because the NFC East is ours. NFC East is ours. The NFC is ours.
There really isn't. The NFC is not its strongest. Let's put it that way. It's up for grabs. I mean, there are no real dominant teams out there in the NFC. There ain't even a lot of dominant quarterbacks in the NFC anymore. And this is assuming Aaron Rodgers is dealt to the AFC. Who are the premier quarterbacks in the NFC now? I mean, like, this is a season, or not a season, a era where we can make a lot of noise as long as we stay high on the talent level, right? And another part of this that's going to make a big impact on what happens is who we are choosing as our offense and defensive coordinators. I mean, because it doesn't mean anything if you get the talent, if you don't have player development type coaches on your staff. I mean, this is the beauty of this team now. And hate to see those guys walk out the building. Maybe not Jonathan Gannon as much, but Shane Steichen and Brian Johnson have done a marvelous job in player development with Jalen Hurts. I mean, you see the improvement he has made in the 2 years that these guys have been on the staff. So, you can assemble young talent, you can get them through the draft, but if you don't have the coaches that can help develop them to be the best versions of themselves on the field, then it's all for naught. It's all for naught. So it's going to be very crucial on who they decide to bring as a defensive coordinator and an offensive coordinator. Like we said, we're hearing that Brian Johnson is probably going to be the OC.
Yeah.
That's a good move, not a bad move. I mean, he is a part of the reason Jalen Hurts is who he is. So to keep him in the building and make him the play caller, because Sirianni has already confessed that he is not going to call plays. The offensive coordinator that he hired is going to call the plays. So that'll be great for Jalen to have the continuity of having the same type of his quarterback's coach step into the OC role and continue with developing him and calling the offense. That has been tailor-made for him. Yeah. So that'll be great for him. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, it remains to be seen, but I trust that Howie, Jeffrey, and Sirianni make the correct choice. How can I not? They have always seemed to make brilliant choices on coaches, save for Chip Kelly. But save for Chip Kelly, we've always had good coaches in here, so I'm trusting them. But anyway, that's the end of this fourth quarter and our program, man. We thank you guys for joining us. I missed you guys, man. I'm gonna be back because I'm never done. I never get tired of talking about our Philadelphia Eagles. So
you gonna pick up Saquon Barkley?
Yeah, right.
I know.
All right, y'all. You guys, man. Thank you guys. Wilbur Jones, I see you, man. Danny Downs.
I gotta answer this question.
Commanders will be changing coaches before the season is done. Cowgirls will always be a disappointment. Fly, Eagles, fly. James Edgefield says, don't forget the Arab Beads in Washington. He will make a difference, especially if he gets his hands on a decent quarterback. I think we would still win the division, but WDC will be much better. All right.
I'm not saying that. Andy Reid called the plays in Kansas City. Eric B was just there. Let's be honest. He was just there. Andy Reid called the plays and made the adjustments because he did the same thing here in Philly. But I do want to answer this one question. Jalen Hurts has not been put on the cover of Madden, so stop that.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, he did not. All right, we're out, man. We'll see you guys really soon. I'm your man, Dante the Dark Knight. For my co-host, Pat, and Nichelle in her absence, yo. We'll be back soon. I'm out. Peace.
We go live in 5, 4, 3, 2. Smash him up, crack that fool. Quarterback, crack, yo, sack that fool. Hit him, hit him.